Hi, I'm Camille.
And I'm Erin from Opus Art Supplies.
Today you'll discover the versatility of pouring mediums, paints, and additives while learning about the archival alternatives to the trending non-archival methods for acrylic pours.
Using archival methods will ensure that you're creating a high-quality product that will stand the test of time. We want to inspire you and provide easy recipes that you can follow.
This way you can launch straight into your own creative practice and begin exploring. To start off, we're going to explain two different types of pours that you can do.
A straight pour is when you pour an acrylic paint mixed with a fluid acrylic medium onto a surface.
While a dirty pour is when you mix multiple colors with a fluid medium and combine them in one cup before pouring it onto a surface.
To start off, we're going to do a straight pour. Our recipe for the straight pour uses Opus Essential fluid acrylic colors, and our pouring medium is going to be Golden GAC 800. We will mix 1/3 Opus Essential fluid acrylic colors to 2/3 GAC 800. The GAC is actually a almost completely transparent medium, so it can dry slightly cloudy, which is why it's really good for pouring, but not as good for a top coat. Probably white and then go this way, you think?
Yep, I think that's good.
Okay. Probably just in the center, do you think?
Yeah, it's in the center. We highly recommend that you use artist-grade pigments and materials for your pours. This will give you more intense colors, cleaner color mixes, more options for choosing different viscosities, and a more reliable final product.
You can pour in different areas and it will kind of move the flow of the paint, but it's really up to you how you want it to pour, or how much of each color you want to show. Maybe just one more tiny pour of each color and then we can tip it.
Doing it!
Yes! It's amazing.
It's amazing. That's so cool. Oh, it's making the coolest pattern on the plastic. You can peel that off and use it as a skin.
The pouring mediums help keep the colors from blending too much together. They protect against crazing as well. Crazing is when you get cracks and crevices in the dried surface of the paint. So the paint actually kind of splits apart and you get these deep kind of little cracks in the surface. Mediums also help for it to pour properly, but helps to extend the actual amount of paint that you use as well. You can pour on many different surfaces like canvas, wood panel, primed canvas panel as well. The pours usually change quite a bit in the first 5 to 10 minutes based on how the paints are interacting and which ones are lighter and come to the surface and which pigments are heavier and will sink in the paint layers.
So now that we've shown you a straight pour, we're going to show you a dirty pour next.
We are going to mix 50/50 Liquitex pouring medium to Opus Essential fluid acrylic.
We're also using golden fluid acrylics as well.
It doesn't have to be extremely precise. You can use different ratios, but we found this ratio, it makes a really nice pour.
So now we're going to pour all the colors into one main cup.
Don't forget to scrape out your cup to get all of the extra paint out of there.
So to do the dirty pour, we're going to take the cup and put it on the table. And we're going to put our surface in the center so it lies on top like that.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Ready? Wow, it's so cool.
Wow. Now you could tip it to get it to cover the whole surface, but it often does change the cell type shapes and stretches them out, so once the paint starts to travel off the edge, it tends to keep going in that direction. Lots of little bubbles are starting to pop up here, and they often change more and more as they kind of flow and the paints have time to interact.
Now let's jump into the different mediums and additives you can mix with your acrylic paints for fun and interesting pours.
Our next recipe, we'll mix 50/50 acrylic colors with GAC 800 and add about 3 drops of wetting agent. Golden wetting agent reduces the surface tension and increases flow. You can add your paints in any order, but if you add them based on their density, you can play with which colors will float to the surface and which ones will sink to the bottom. So when we have titanium white on the bottom of the cup, since it's heavier, when we flip it, it should sink through all the other color layers to be on the bottom. Creates more pigment play.
Oh, pigment play. You just did that.
This is really neat with the light pastel colors.
Yeah.
The cup looks amazing too. So the wetting agent is allowing the paint to flow a little bit more. This one has more obvious separations right away for the different colors.
So on the surface of this one, we noticed that there are a few bubbles coming up. So they'll most likely pop on their own, or you can go in with a palette knife and just pop them yourself. With the extra paint in the cup that's dripped down off the sides, I'm just gonna pour that on the edge here. Fill in this hole.
Just to give it a little bit more finished look.
Sometimes you can scoop the paint that's dripped off and add it to your surface again. I'm trying not to mix the colors too much so that they don't completely blend into one another. For this recipe, we're going to be using fluid acrylics with pouring medium and rubbing alcohol. The ratio we'll be using is 50% paint to 50% pouring medium and 10 drops of 70% rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, you want to mix these quite quickly once you add the rubbing alcohol because it will try to evaporate quite quickly. Okay, ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Wow. Looks amazing.
I love it.
Rubbing alcohol repels paint. So the alcohol is really interacting with the different paint layers and pushing each other, which is what's giving us these kind of round cell-like shapes.
We're just gonna demo what it looks like when you drop rubbing alcohol onto the surface.
So it's pushing all the top layers back and the underneath layers are kind of showing through. Golden recommends rubbing alcohol to be used as an additive because it will actually evaporate out of the paint layer, so it's a more archival alternative to some of the other additives out there.
So this next recipe will be showcasing the different viscosities of paint in one pour. We have Liquitex acrylic ink, Golden High Flow, Opus Essential Fluid colors, and alcohol ink. Different viscosities have different flow rates, so they will interact differently and create interesting patterns on the surface. Ready?
Go.
Oh. Wow.
We put the alcohol ink in last so that when you flip it, the alcohol ink would be on the bottom and would try to move up to the surface, which will give you more cells and more color variation.
If you don't like the finished result, just remember you can always pour over it again once it's dry.
Once your acrylic pour has fully cured, the dried pour may not be as shiny and smooth as it was when it was first poured. Adding a clear layer of pouring medium or resin over the dried piece will bring back the smooth glass-like appearance while enhancing your colors.
Now that you know some recipes for creating acrylic pours, it's time to play around and create your own.
I'm Camille.
And I'm Erin from Opus Art Supplies, and thanks for watching. I'm Camille. I'm looking at it.
Okay, we actually do this all day long.
Thanks for watching.